volunteer and investment mission in Trinidad and Tobago at the moment. They're interested in such issues as health transformation initiatives, project financing, energy conservation technology, and many others. To talk with us about that then, Oscar Thomas, Dr. Wallace Davis, and volunteers from the Volunteers of America, and Kenneth Randall from Green Technology USA. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So let's start with who is sort of the leader of this group here among the three of you?
Dr. Wallace Davis is the president and CEO of Volunteers of America.
Volunteers of America. Is that the organization that the retired General Colin Powell had decided to go and work with after he left public service?
I think his was Points of Light. Volunteers of America has been around since 1896, serving today 2 million people in the United States. And we're interested in trying to take some of the technology, some of the knowledge, and transfer it here to Trinidad and Tobago. Oscar Thomas has been a person who has been working with us, providing leadership and introductions to many people here over the years.
All right, let's talk a little bit, though, about this question of volunteers and volunteerism, because I think that was his platform then, about stressing the importance of volunteerism.
Right. Volunteers of America has many volunteers, thousands of volunteers across the country. Volunteerism is a way to give back of yourself to your country, give back to your community, to help to make it a better place. Oscar has been doing that through his service by bringing many people here to offer their expertise, their knowledge, to help to make our community, this community, a better place.
And you said that you've been here before. You're not a stranger to Trinidad and Tobago?
I am Trinidadian.
Yeah.
I live in Atlanta, Georgia at the present time.
Okay. You were born here?
I was born here.
Yeah.
I met Volunteers of America in Louisiana after Katrina.
Okay.
This was the firm the federal government hired or requested to rebuild the Gulf Coast to include Louisiana after the Katrina storm. Volunteers of America came into Louisiana and did all the social services for the people who have lost almost everything throughout that time. Another time, as a construction engineer, I met with them because they rebuilt homes, and they had some kind of a steel product that they developed to the fast-track buildings and environmental friendly close to the Gulf Coast. So I met with them and talked, and thought it was a good idea to bring Volunteers of America to Trinidad. At that time, with the government mandate of 10,000 houses a year and things like that, I brought Volunteers of America to do the fast-track building of houses, steel frame, because we could have built a house in 21 days. And things like that for the people in Trinidad and Tobago. So
you were in on the ground floor with that initiative then, the housing development initiative that began in 2002 then?
In Trinidad?
After that?
Yeah. No, as
you came in after
Trinidadian and coming into Trinidad and learning of the opportunity. Engineer found what was going on in the United States as to what Volunteers of America was doing. I thought it was a good initiative to invite them to Trinidad to speak with the government of Trinidad and Tobago. As to
that would have been in previous government.
Government.
What would you say you were able to accomplish then with that mission?
I didn't accomplish anything then.
Reasons why?
It is difficult to say why. I like to say as a personal is that maybe the last government had their people in place to do what it is. As a construction engineer, I found many different ways of doing things that wasn't implemented. And I couldn't have gotten the opportunity to say, this is how we do it and this is how to do it. And I think that was I couldn't have got the cross-pollination between the locals who were doing it or the person who were previously doing it and my bringing the new technology.
And so your commitment then was to keep trying.
Trying.
That's why you are here again.
Trying to
so let's bring you in, Kenneth Randall. So what's your area of expertise now? How do you become
Basically, Green Technologies USA focuses on energy efficiency. So we're basically looking at existing buildings that have been built over 10 plus years or even beyond that and trying to retrofit that building to make it more energy efficient. Because a lot of the commercial buildings in the industrial sector, they emit a lot of CO2. Basically carbon dioxide. And when you have that amount of emission, it basically, like you hear about the ozone layer and global warming, it has a major effect to that. So one of the big initiatives now is not just new construction following green outline, but taking existing structures and making them more efficient. So you'll kind of have a past, taking care of, basically looking at the past and fixing what issues were prior, and now looking at the future, making sure each new construction building is using a green model to make sure the future is sustainable in comparison to what we've been doing over the last 50 plus years since the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah, so reform programs, we're talking a lot about that these days. Some people say that we're just talking about prisoner reform. Is that an area you want to get into as well?
That certainly is an area that we want to be a part of. We started prison reform in the U.S. When our Volunteers of America began in 1896. One of our first mission was to work in prison reform and to create a better environment for prisoners as well as halfway houses when they came out. So we were kind of advocates for prisoners, yet at the same time creating an opportunity for them to come out into the community and become stable, productive citizens once again after their time they served in prison.
Yeah, I'm curious. So you come representing this range of interests and concerns and initiatives and so on. Who do you meet with, and how do you lay out what your sort of proposals are, what your ambitions are?
I took the opportunity of being Trinidadian, and it's a returning home, sort of. And as the network goes, Trinidad is small, you know everyone. And what have happened, my accomplishment through the years, I thought maybe I could have transferred the technology and bring it back home and sort of meet, like I saw Ken Valley in the corridor, just where I knew Ken Valley.
You'd met him
going through the corridor.
In a previous capacity?
Yeah.
Maybe when you were
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I've known Ken Valley for a while. So it's in these kind of situation, I thought my knowing what I knew and with people like Wallace Davis and things, I could bring them to Trinidad and we shake hands and bring the technology home. Yes.
So it's sort of your initiative to try and pull a team together to come and you ask for Dr. Davis's support. And
well, in the network in the United States, as you will know, you meet a lot of different people in different with different services and professionalism. And hence the reason I choose Dr. Davis, because Volunteers of America, as you have read, and what I have known of Volunteers of America, has a wide range of services they offer. After Katrina, I've experienced Volunteers of America going into Haiti, for instance. And today, with the Gulf situation, Volunteers of America is there also. Okay, in Trinidad, as you just mentioned, prison reform is a big thought here in Trinidad and Tobago with the crime and situation. Volunteers of America, that's a service of theirs. So hence the reason I try to stick with Volunteers of America and ask them to come home and speak with the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, with whom have you all been speaking since?
We have spoken with different ministerial areas. Today we're going to do a community walkthrough with the Minister of Social Development, for instance. We're going to meet with him today. We are hoping to meet with the Minister of Housing, Minister of Health. We're hoping to meet with all these different people before we leave, shake hands and introduce ourselves. And I am, of course, very overexcited with Trinidad and Tobago and sort of rendering some kind of service.
Where were you from in Trinidad?
I was born in Diego Martin.
Okay.
Yes, and still to say 2 words of patois and do things like that, so I try to keep my culture very much with me.
All right, and so are you hoping for better luck this time, you think?
Yes, I don't want to say it as, I don't want to quite put it as luck. I hope that the situation is different and they accept our knowledge and what we have to offer and sort of make a contribution, especially with the new government and the new start that they have in Trinidad. I call it a clean slate.
Yeah.
And as the clean slate is presented, I would like them to look at us and give us a chance to do what or accept what we have to offer.
Yeah. So you haven't met with anybody, say yesterday, just yet?
Yes.
You said you met
yesterday
with the Minister of Social Development?
Social Development, Minister, yes. Yeah. And he invited us today to his constituency to do a walkthrough with him at 10:30 today, which we are ready to do.
That's in, I think I was told something about a place called Carlson Field.
Carlson
We'll look
Field,
at some squatters living and...
Yes.
Yeah, and so he's invited you.
Yes,
so you're not sure what you would meet and therefore what you might be able to...
No, but we are expecting to make an announcement through the church's Ministry of Biblical. Volunteers of America is willing to offer a house also to a community of the most needed persons in that.
Sort of like a model.
A model.
Yeah.
Well, yes, it will be a model, but it will be a gift to a community under the ministerial sort of situation.
Yeah. And what I mean, so that house would be like what can be possible to develop a whole community.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, would you have a particular role in that?
Yes, Volunteer America will be making the offer, yes.
Well, what we would like to do is to be able to have a church or a group of churches in the States to donate this house to another church or faith group here in Trinidad. So it would be faith to faith or church to church working to bring about a better quality for a family here.
Yeah. Interestingly, I was listening to a discussion on a radio station in Tobago. It's called Radio Tamarind last week. The new U.S. ambassador to Trinidad and Tobago was in Tobago last week, and she was talking with the people on the radio there. One of the guys has sort of experience in doing NGO work and volunteer work, and he was telling her of a situation which she agreed is the case, that a lot of times for an NGO, say in Trinidad and Tobago, to get proper assistance from an NGO in the United States, the NGO in Trinidad and Tobago has to register as an NGO in the United States.
That's correct.
Yeah. So that has to be the case. And is that not a sort of barrier to the kind of cooperation and assistance you're talking about then?
I think it's just a process that you do. It's respecting each other's boundaries and trying to fit into where they need you to fit.
What I think the United States like to do is to sort of work on a government-to-government or official basis rather than one saying, I am an NGO, and then they get certified. The United States, of course, they believe in a lot of certifications.
Yes.
And one who has to register, then he becomes certified as a certified NGO. And that's, I believe, the registration is all for.
Yeah. And so, Mr. Randall, then, in this house, that if you all get to be able to put it down, so you would sort of get involved in demonstrating business about green technology?
Basically, it's just a mindset of what materials are environmentally friendly, what sources of energy you can use for new construction or existing construction. It's basically opening the door and opening the conversation to start looking towards that path. So it's a norm rather than just a exception.
Yeah. All right, so how many of you in all are in this mission now?
Today, only Dr. Davis and myself.
Yeah. The team that has come to Trinidad.
Oh, there are many. Last night we met, we were together with, I would say, about 4 different teams of construction people and other finance people, health, and there were different guys here.
So you would have been chiefly responsible for putting the contingent together, so to speak?
Actually, Oscar was that. He's very good at bringing people together.
Yeah, I have been bringing people to Trinidad in all different forms of fashion. I was fortunate to become an engineer in the United States. I've been to Ethiopia. I tried the same thing in Ethiopia and different places. I have done things throughout the years. But home, I like home.
And you want to give back?
Give back.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to give back. And it will take now a couple of hours for, I believe, Volunteers of America to really describe the areas in which they can facilitate any country like Trinidad. And
in addition to the ones I just reeled off, education and training.
Right.
Well, Volunteers of America is Volunteers of America Southeast region. So they cover the whole Southeast region, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, and the whole Gulf Coast. Southeast region. And Dr. Davis was able to call some... No, not in the Florida.
Florida is not considered Southeast?
No.
It's a different state.
Okay. Yeah. So I think if Dr. Davis were to tell you the amount of people they feed per day, the amount of people there right now housing, and that is from infantry to the elderly, in which volunteers get involved sometimes in servicing the need for the people.
As some people say, from womb to tomb, you have services to provide for people.
Yes.
So, based on this mission, when you hope to come back, then what it will require, what must happen for you all to come back in whatever form?
Well, I like the 100+ days that the present government is talking about.
120 days.
120 days the government is talking about. And within that period, which about 30 years gone already has passed, I wish a decision could be made as to access to come back and sort of put a plan together or to do something or to present a proposal in some form in which they can use us to facilitate what they are trying to do in this 100+ days for the future.
All right, well, let's hope it happens. Yes. Well, thank you all, gentlemen, very much. Oscar Thomas, Dr. Wallace Davis, and Kenneth Randall.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you. We're going to the